So when we talk about strategy from the Cuts point of view, what we're talking about is communications. So everything that underlines the communications and the marketing of the business. For Ethan and Ethel, this will drive their website, their social media campaigns, their billboards, everything that they do. We start off with what we call a communication strategy. Now, there's a whole process around that involves brand interviews and quite an extensive sort of uncovering and downloading of information from the client. But what we're going to give you guys today is the summarised version of that. So hopefully you'll get some insights that allow you to benchmark what you're doing in your own businesses. So the purpose of doing a strategy is there are a whole bunch of them, but basically it's about to give clarity and definition to the way your business communicates. So you don't have to talk about professional staff and free parking and WA's leading and all that generic snore stuff that every other business says. It's about differentiating yourself in your market. That's what it leads to. That's the end goal. And I think that's what you'll see with what we're going to create for West Coast e-bike hire and the other real-life case studies that we've got to show you guys. So you want to identify your niche. Where do you fit in the market? What's the little bit of space that you occupy that you can really have ownership of? Clarify your strengths. What do you do best as a business? What do you deliver? What are you really, really good at? So you're not trying to be everything to everybody. Understand your customers. So this brings it back to what I was talking about earlier about there's people out there, there's people on the end of this, and they are your customers. Defining relevant and strong key messages, so you can have a small number of key messages that your business keeps pushing out there. Building a strong foundation. So the communication strategy sits under everything that you do in a marketing sense. So every piece of communication, and often it'll inform the way the team communicates in emails and even in phone calls. So you're looking to disrupt, communicate effectively, engage and build engagement with your customers and potential customers and the business overall. So ask the right questions when you're looking at your communication strategy. What do you do best? What makes you different? What do people want from you? How do you help people? And also, what are the best ways to reach them? What are the channels that are going to work best for you? Instagram and Facebook are not great for every business. Sometimes LinkedIn is better. What does your website need to do? Is there a case for traditional media with your business? How is it best to reach the people that you're trying to reach? Where are they? How can we get to them? So I'm going to show a couple of real-life case studies before we cut back to e-bikes. So we did a rebrand of Turf Care WA. So you can see on the left-hand side that's their old logo, and on the right-hand side is their new logo. So these guys are growing really, really, really quickly, and they're working with the new Perth Stadium. They're working with half the premium private schools in Perth. They're working with UWA and a bunch of sports ground, massive golf courses. So they're a big business who are working on premium sporting surfaces that are made of grass. So they wanted to look like a brand that was on the level of the brands that they were starting to engage with. And foundations of performance, I want you to remember that if you can, because we'll be coming back to it. That's their positioning line or slogan, and that's been directly informed by the strategy we did with that business. So remember that if you can, but I think you can see with those two logos that we've now got a business there that's way more progressive, modern and dynamic looking than the old one. And another one, a real life example, is Abode Real Estate. So on the left is their old logo that was designed by a solicitor. That's a whole other story. But they were pretty much invisible in the western suburbs, and they admitted that themselves. So they're a premium brand. They're operating in the western suburbs. They're very aspirational. So we wanted to give them something that was strong, iconic, legible. You could actually read the word abode, which is quite helpful when it's your brand name. And Love Your Location is their positioning line. Now, that came directly out of their strategy and where they wanted to be, which is all about Perth's most beautiful suburbs, either moving into them or moving up within them. And basically talking to people who are doing pretty well in life who want something even nicer. So if you can remember those two positioning lines, we'll come back to them. So coming back to West Coast e-bike hire, they want to reinvent their brand and their business in line with their growth and change. And we're going to reposition them based on hipster cruiser cycles, more power e-bikes. So e-bikes with more power is a niche for them. They've got this leading edge technology. They definitely want to be young and cool. They're not about retirees. They're about funky people, and you'll see why. Their bikes are very different, and having fun days out on cool bikes. So the new name that we've come up with for West Coast e-bike hire is Hippie Bikes, and their positioning is power cruising. So this is all awesome, and there's lots of text on the screen, but what does this actually look like for this business? So this is their old logo. So, you know, we could have squeezed a swan in there probably, or a map of Roto, or a couple of quokkas. But instead, you know, these guys have got the map of WA, great, your WA owned and operated and family business. It's pretty generic, it's pretty old school, it doesn't look particularly progressive. I think that guy's riding a bike, but it might just be first thing in the morning. This is their new logo. So it's very, very simple, it's far more flexible, it's more legible, it's just generally stronger in a visual sense, and I won't go into that in too much more detail, but this is about reinvention, and you'll see how that all comes together and informs the brand later on. So some takeaways for you guys based around strategy, communication strategy in the context of rebranding a business. Find your niche, so identify the niche. Now that doesn't mean you have to stop doing or talking about everything you do, but that in your marketing and the main leading language, you base everything around the thing that you want to own in your market, because there will be something. Focus your key messages of your marketing on the things you're best at, on your strengths. Understand your customers. Know their needs and what's motivating them, so you can deliver the messages that are based on those things. Show how you can help them or give them an experience that's awesome, and use key messages that speak their language. So, you know, again, keep in mind, who are these people? What do they want to hear? What sort of language are they going to relate to? And again, those things should flow through everything you do, from your social media posts to your website homepage, etc.